The what could have beens are what make this hobby interesting even to this day. Imagine if back in 1981, Kenner had been able to give us a Wampa Cave, a carbon freezing chamber playset, or a Bacta Medical Center. Well, we don't have to wonder that anymore. Hey Star Wars fans, welcome back to another video from All Things Star Wars Considered. As always, I'm your host Doug, and today, based on my little intro, I'm sure you're probably figuring we're going to be talking about some fan-made items, and yes, that is the case. I just grabbed the Next 17 Luke in Bacta Tank, and that is a collaboration with Funky McClunky. Funky kind of designed the figure for him. They were able to kind of put the figure out with the tank, and it just came in the mail today, so we're going to crack it open. We're going to review it, and I'm hoping and praying that some of the ideas that I've had in the back of my mind are going to all play out and work out, because I've got some good stuff on the horizon, so stick around. That's coming up next. Okay, let's get into this. Now, this shouldn't be too bad. The box is a little smaller than I anticipated, but I think we'll be okay. So let's kind of just look at this. Okay, so here we have it. Let's pull this out. I think that's just filler. Okay. We get this thing from the Next 17. Join me on YouTube, where I shall share increasingly unprofessional looking videos showcasing my creations in ways that will be of very little use to anyone. That's funny. Then we've got some of their figures, past and present. Kind of cool. Oh, wow. Oh, that's neat. I like that. Little cantina backdrop. Awesome. Oh, and we also have some Bacta Medical Center cardboard pieces. Oh, I ought to be able to utilize this in the medical center. We got a letter from the Next 17. Oh, wow, that's neat. Thank you for your purchase and support. Oh, wow. So that's really cool. Let's actually get into the actual toy itself. Oh, wow. So very neat. So we got the tank here. A little tinier than I thought, but you know what? It's a Kenner figure and display, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And here's the Luke in diaper. Kind of neat. You can get some scarring on his face. I'll have to pull that off. We'll do that off camera. No big deal. But here's the figure. 5 points of articulation. Feels like a Kenner figure. Head turns. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So we kind of plop him in there. And then I'm assuming this is the top and the bottom of the tank. Cool. Let's get that out of here. So we have this. So let's see. So we can kind of just do that. And we can drop him in the tank. And we can do that. So yeah, that's a pretty neat looking piece. Now I've got a lot of ideas, and if you kind of go along for the journey with me, I think you'll enjoy where this ends up, provided that everything works out. But stick around, because this is going to be a work in progress, and it's going to be a little bit of fun. So thanks for watching, and let's see how this thing goes. Okay, so if you saw Toy Polloy's review of this, he actually made a very good observation that Luke wants to kind of seem like he's suspended in the Bacta. You know, if you just plop the figure down into the tank, he obviously looks like he's standing at the bottom. And we all know that that's not the case. Now, Toy Polloy did like a little plastic top, like a clear plastic top that actually sat underneath the top part of the tank, and then he attached some like some fishing wire or something kind of translucent so that he could actually suspend Luke. I'm going to actually take that one step further, and I'm actually going to create like a harness, and I'm going to do it probably out of zip ties. I haven't quite put it all together yet, but that's my game plan. That I'm going to use a couple of zip ties to kind of suspend them. I will use the clear plastic top to kind of hold the harness in place. And one other thing that I'm going to do, I think Luke is not in that Bacta without some sort of breathing apparatus, so like a scuba type of thing, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, right? So we want to keep this as Kenner-esque as possible. So what we're going to use is this, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this. This is a gas mask from the survival kit. It also came with the Rebel Transport. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add this to the figure. And again, it's clear. It's a little bit yellowed because it's old. I think I'm going to actually maybe I might do this in black. I might paint this black so that it stands out more in the tank. So we're going to do that. We're going to create the harness. We're going to use the gas mask to make it very Kenner-esque. And I'm thinking I'm going to do some LED lighting. Not quite sure yet how that's going to all go, but I'm going to do that. I'm also going to add a couple of hoses. I actually found some hoses from some Lego sets, and we're going to see how that works. If that doesn't work, then I actually have a couple of other ideas. But everything is, that's making me look crazy. If I do this, that makes me look crazy. But the wheels are turning in my head. So when we come back, we're going to explore some of these ideas. So stick around for that. Okay, before we get into this, I just kind of wanted to give you a method to my madness. Everybody's got to kind of have a plan of attack when they put something like this together. So I'm going to channel my inner budget Jedi. Not sure how many of you guys remember the budget Jedi, but he was a YouTuber that used to literally take foam core, cardboard, aluminum foil, bits and pieces of plastic, anything that he found in his junk drawer, he would put it together and create these cool dioramas. So I'm going to channel some of my inner budget Jedi today. What I've got here to just kind of show you how we're going to start this thing off is got a bunch of odds and ends. I got some wall panels that I printed up from Frank Diorio, who does Diorio's dioramas. I actually added this. I thought this was kind of neat. This is going to be a door. You can see the X pattern in the door. I actually drew out this warning label. Now, not sure how familiar you guys are with some of the deleted scenes from The Empire Strikes Back. Now, in the original film, they wanted the Wampa snow monster to feature or figure a little bit more heavily in the beginning of the movie, and they actually had a bunch of scenes filmed with the Wampas in Echo Base, and none of it worked out. Back then, the technology wasn't what it was today. They couldn't CGI things, so they had guys in costumes, and it was just too wonky. And if you actually see some of the clips, it really looks juvenile. And based on how Star Wars was put together and The Empire Strikes Back was put together, it just would have actually sullied the actual film. So they scrapped it all. But in one of the deleted scenes, they actually had contained a bunch of these Wampas, and they had kind of put them in this like storage facility, and they had this particular warning sign taped to the outside of the door so that nobody would enter, and that's where all the Wampas were stored. So what happened is, as 3PO and Han and Leia are all running to the Falcon at the end when the base is taken over by the Empire, C-3PO gets to that door and rips this particular warning label off, and the snowtroopers come along, don't realize there's Wampas in there. They open the door thinking the rebels are behind the door, and sure enough, here comes a bunch of Wampas, and they attack the snowtroopers. So it's kind of funny. So I thought that was kind of something that Kenner might have done, when they were putting together a Bacta Medical Center. So obviously, if you haven't figured that out, that's what we're going to be doing today. That's what all these printouts are. So we're going to be attaching these to some foam core, which I picked up at Walmart. And we got some foam core right here. It's 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to cut it all into the sizes and shapes I need, attach these panels, and put it all together and create like a room. Now, behind the glass, we will have this Bacta tank, and we need to light it up. So I went to Walmart and I picked up some LED lights. I think I paid like $4.97. Got this little remote, so when you hit it, and I've already got it set to blue, so we hit this, and you can see, let's actually remove one. You can see I've actually got the one in this top part of the tank, so you can already see that it's illuminating the blue. Pretty neat, I think. I'm hoping it'll translate when I put this whole thing together. So, and that's the nice thing. You get this little remote, so you can just shut it on and off, preserve your batteries, and you're good to go. Now, we are going to have a window in which Han, Leia, Chewie, and 3PO look on as Luke heals in the Bacta. And people have asked me, well, what can you use for a window? Well, you can use any of the plastic windows that Black Series figures are on. So you could pull this off and cut it to the shape you need, which is probably about 4x6, and there you have it. So that'll be the window that they look behind and see Luke healing in the Bacta. So we're going to need some lighting, and I got this string of lights right here, and you just hit that button, and you're going to have lights. So I can string lights along the ceiling. I'm going to actually put some the lenses from, like, if you go into an industrial building and you look up and you can see all those square panels in the ceiling, and you got that like weird plastic film. I'm going to actually add some of that, which I found on my route. And yeah, I found it. Somebody was throwing out one of those shop lights, and I grabbed the actual lens out of it and broke it into pieces, and I'll glue it to the ceiling of the Bacta Medical Center. And when I string those lights there, it'll shine down and create that effect. Now, speaking of stuff I found on my route, this is the funny part. A lot of people get a chuckle out of this. When I'm delivering, as I walk along, I see bits and pieces on the ground, toys, just scrap pieces of plastic. Sometimes I'll see something and I'll really think, hey, I can make something out of this. People in my office get a kick out of it. So I'm just going to kind of dump this. This is what I've actually found recently. So I saw this. This was outside one of my medical buildings, and I don't know what this is. It looks like a plastic end cap. But I'm thinking I'm going to put this together to create some sort of panel. Now, here's the original panel from the Power of the Jedi Luke and Bacta Tank back in 2000. Very modern. I don't think it'll kind of work with this. I mean, it will, but I want to make this as Kenner-esque as possible. So I'm going to put something together like this. Maybe I can attach it here, paint this. You'll be able to attach 2-1B to that foot peg, and just like a neat little control panel. Oh, I actually found this little thing. I think it says Jesus Saves, but I thought you can put it there and maybe paint it, and it will kind of look like the screen. Got some little tubes here that maybe I can add to it. I don't know. I haven't figured it all out yet. Found these mechanical arms. I was watching The Empire Strikes Back for some inspiration, and when I was watching the Bacta Medical Tank scene, I actually saw a couple of these things hanging from the ceiling. So I'm probably just going to attach 1 or 2 of these, because I got 2 of them. Maybe just attach them to the ceiling to create, I don't know, just mechanical arms just doing stuff. Speaking of hanging from the ceiling, I got these Lego flexible hoses. Now, I actually picked this up. One of them I picked up on eBay. The reason I picked it up on eBay is I was going along and I found one on the ground. So I picked up, I said, you know what, I could use this, but I need 2. So I went on eBay. It's part 14301, and I'm going to just kind of hang these from the ceiling alongside the tank to create that look. So, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff here. I got some hoses here, can maybe string along the parts of the ceiling. I got some zip ties. I don't know. I've just got a bunch of ideas. So, when we come back, I'm going to start putting this all together, and hopefully it all translates, because I really think that when I'm all said and done here, I think this is going to really be a cool display. So stick around, because that's coming up next. here you have it. The Luke and Bacta Tank Medical Center diorama. And to say that this was a labor of love would be an understatement. Obviously, when you put something like this together, you're going to hit some snags, and this one was no different. So obviously, I talked about creating a harness for the figure, and I actually did. But if you notice, it's not made out of zip ties like I initially said I was going to use. The zip ties didn't quite work out. They were too rigid and didn't sit well underneath his armpits, so I went with two black elastics. They actually worked really well and allowed the figure to kind of hang very naturally in the quote-unquote Bacta. So I'm happy how that turned out. Let's actually get the lights going so you can see what it looks like. Look at how cool that is. The blue lighting just really adds to this scene. Look at how cool that looks. So let's turn that back on so you can actually see the actual display. You can see I got the hoses I utilized. I created that computer console out of those parts that I talked about in my last segment. I actually painted the gas mask from the survival kit. I gave it a black paint job, and where the cup sits over his nose and mouth, I actually painted that white. I think it actually really worked out quite well. So very Kenner-esque, like I was striving for. Now, we have some figures there. The Luke. I keep saying Luke. Han, Leia, and Chewie look on as Luke heals in the Bacta. On this side, we have R2 and 3PO. You can see I utilized that door that we talked about. And the nice thing about this diorama is that it can be very modular. It can stand on its own, right? But you can, to the side of this, create like a Wampa storage closet in which you put some Wampas in. I was thinking of doing that to kind of expand this diorama. On the other side of that, I would also put probably a Tauntaun handling area in which they kind of mount the Tauntauns to go out on patrol. Now, if we kind of scroll to this side, we have a doorway here. Now, I was thinking of adding a hallway there in which Han and Leia argue when Han tells her he's leaving to pay off Jabba the Hutt. Now, that hallway could lead to a control room in which you have computer consoles and tactical screens and just, that whole mechanical area there. So I think this is the starting point for a bunch of modular play sets that will follow. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's kind of get a zoom if we can kind of get in there and kind of see how Luke looks suspended in the Bacta. I think it's a great effect. Want to thank TheNext17 and Funky McClunky. Also want to send a special shout out to Toy Polloy for his involvement in giving me some of these ideas. Want to thank the Budget Jedi for allowing me the flexibility to kind of, do his little shtick where I kind of take odds and ends and create a diorama out of foam and plastic parts and just odds and ends. And finally, want to thank Frank Diorio for his involvement with the stickers. I printed those out and they really add to this diorama. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and we will see you on the next video. Well, I hope you enjoyed the review and display of the Luke in Bacta Tank and the custom medical center that I built to go along with this piece from TheNext17. I hope you enjoyed it. We always say the fans are doing the best work, and back in 1981 something like this just wasn't going to be feasible. It wasn't going to be something on Kenner's radar, but you know what, in 2024, if it was on the silver screen, it's doable. And with 3D printing and the ability for fans to go out there and put this stuff together, that stuff is now possible. And obviously we saw with that particular piece, something that Kenner wouldn't have touched back in the day was done by TheNext17, and a little bit of gumption, a couple of little creative ideas, and you have yourself a diorama. Obviously the cool thing too for me is that I can put that alongside my modern version of that diorama. Now, if you haven't seen that, that is one of my earlier videos. Not one of my better videos, But if you want to see that particular video of that Bacta Medical Center, just scroll down in my videos and you'll see it. So it was a lot of fun back then putting that together. I obviously used Frank Diorio as my inspiration. He had the Nub Nubs universe. Used to give you stickers to download. He gave you the blueprints, and not really very difficult to do. I printed up the stickers. I followed his blueprints, and voila, I was able to put that together. And then I was able to kind of translate that into the Bacta Medical Center that you just saw for the Next 17 piece. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to start to wrap things up. Before we do so, I'd like to thank everybody for the continued support of the channel. Obviously, you guys are the reason why I do what I do. If you haven't done so, I ask you to hit the subscribe button so I can continue to bring you that valuable Star Wars content we've all come to know and love. If you like the video, give it a like. I always say that helps the channel as well. If you have a question, a comment, some input, please leave it in the comment section, and I'll get back to each and every one of you. Obviously, like I always say, it's my favorite part of the channel. So just want to remind everybody to have a great day. Thank everybody for watching, and we will see you on the next video. And as always, may the Force be with you.